Hi, I'm Cassie Amelia and I have two children, Lion who is 7 and Hazzy who is 2. Growing up, I'd move around a lot. So I probably had moved around 15 times by the time I was like 19. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I feel like I moved all around South London, so I probably know everywhere in South London, to be honest. At the time of like 19, I started going to a church. So I had felt like, you know what, I've done everything. Let me go and try this thing that everyone's telling me to go and try at church. So I went to church and that's where I met my ex-husband now. And we hit it on like a house on fire because we're very similar people and we had a lot in common. So from that's where we was dating for about a year, like courting for like a year. We ended up getting engaged, we got married, and the wedding went extremely viral. And I feel like it was because I'd lost my mum the year before. And I feel like people had really just resonated with the story that was told, like via the images. I looked at my phone, so I was getting married, and at the time my ex-partner had more followers than me. I had a lot less, but I looked at my phone and it was literally glitching because I was getting so many likes on a post, and from 800 followers I went to 10,000 followers like overnight, and I was in the public eye. So at the time I was married, obviously I've said, and yeah, I was married, and to the outside world it was probably like the perfect couple, if that makes sense, like perfect couple, marriage. And then I got pregnant and I had my son, and I feel like that was the start of a lot, because when I lost my mum I was going through a lot of grief, but I feel like everything kind of like the wedding and everything else kind of like put it on pause. But that situation of like having my son brought it all back, because now I didn't have my mum. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Just after I had my son, maybe like a year later, I went through the divorce. And I feel like for me that was a lot, because I wanted to create stability and I didn't want my son to go through the sort of things that I went through. So like when my dad left and then we had to like move around a lot, I feel like I was nervous because I felt like that's what it was going to create. But I feel like I was determined to make sure that I set up the right home for my son and made sure that we weren't moving around too much. So we've moved twice. So I feel like that's normal. And I was really rigid in the beginning, like with timings, what time he goes to bed, his eating, because I feel like my upbringing was so all over the place. I wanted to do something a bit different for him. As time's gone on now, I'm less rigid, but I feel like, yeah, creating a home, creating that space, because for me, home was like outside of plastic bags and different places, but for him I wanted it to be like, this is my home. And yeah, my mum represents home, and I think that's why I made sure that me and also my ex-husband had such a good relationship, co-parent relationship, because I always want him to feel like he's still got that family unit. So yeah, co-parenting, I feel like we're friends. We've made sure we've remained friends. I think it's been so important to be friends and to know that the common denominator in this is our son. We want him to be happy. So we show up for him, we show up together, we go out together and do things with him. And we just make sure he knows that. I feel like to him, although he knows that we're not together, he just sees it as one big family. And even when he talks about like being in different homes, he's like, oh, it's cool. I've got more than one home. Your home, yeah, my nana's home. So like, yeah, he sees it as one big family, and I love that for him. I think it was a lot. It was even more than I thought it would be, if that makes sense. And I think it's mainly because going viral and having that level of wedding and stuff like that, people already have this image of you, they pedestal you, and then now the couple that they've pedestaled is telling them they're not going to be together. It was a lot. So yeah, it was constant, like, why are you not together? It was constant, oh, you need to go back, like, he's so good. Like people telling me what the relationship was, what we, like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I think, like, especially in the church, divorce is like, I felt like I became a second-class citizen. That's the best way for me to explain it, because it was like, yeah, it was hard. I felt unseen a lot and unheard a lot. And almost like, yeah, that's it. Like your life's kind of over now that you've gone through this divorce. But I'm so happy that I stayed close to God, because it was God that reminded me that no, like, what do you mean? This is not the end. I can still do so much with you, and I still will do so much with you. So yeah. I think I needed people to see me outside of what, like the viral wedding. I think I wanted people just to speak to me and just ask me, how are you? Rather than like, what happened? It's like everyone wanted to know what happened, like to be in those parts. I think I wanted people to see me and the fact that I had gone through a lot, and you know, even if they felt like, oh, why did you make that decision? Just to kind of, yeah, be there for me, the person. So yeah, I think I had a lot of good friends that I'm so grateful for. And I think you realize who your friends are when you go through your hardest seasons. So there's certain friends that showed up and kind of just spoke life into me, reminded me of who I was, because I think when you go through a divorce sometimes and so public, it felt like I lost myself. But they would remind me, no, you remember you're Cass and who I am, and you know, like, yeah, just remind me of who I was. And I think that was important. And like, my sister, she was amazing looking after my son. And to be fair as well, his family were amazing. His family were amazing looking after my son and just supporting both of us through that journey. So yeah. So remember I said I was married. It was great in the public eye. I got this viral wedding. I went to Prince Harry's wedding pregnant. It was just the ideal scenario, right? And then the second time, I'm not married. I'm not going to these fancy places anymore. I was doing like 12-hour shifts, tired, stressed. I feel like I was now looking back, I was going through depression. It was a lot to deal with. And I think mostly I was internalizing a lot and thinking about what other people thought, which brought on a lot of shame. I don't think it necessarily was what other people were saying, but it was more just thinking about what everyone is thinking about me and still seeking that outward validation, I guess. That experience was hard. Again, it was my first pregnancy. They didn't believe that I was in labor. So as far as I was. So when I got to the hospital, they were like, oh, you're fine. And then they did a check and they realized my son was basically there. So within like 6 minutes, I gave birth. I didn't even get to like fully, I don't know, it was crazy. They just wheeled me into a room. I was supposed to have a water birth. So I tore, because it's like my body pushed my son out. Sorry guys, TMI. But yeah, I tore, and when I was getting the stitches, I don't know, they said they numbed me, but I didn't feel numbed, let's just say that. So the second time round, I was terrified of that pain. So I got an epidural because I was like, I can't go through it wasn't even the birth, it was the after bit. So I got an epidural and I just kept pressing the epidural. So I was very numb. I couldn't feel anything. So they was like, you need to push, or we're gonna have to cut you. And I was scared and it was a lot, but God came through. They didn't cut me. I was able to push. It was just a bit of a weird experience because I didn't feel so much. So it was a lot. I was a lot more prepared for how I felt because of the first time. I feel like I knew that, okay, this part of like breastfeeding, it's not gonna be forever. The crying at night, it's not gonna be forever. So I kind of encouraged myself with that. So yeah, the after part, my mental health was a lot better than the first time, I would say, yeah. So I make sure I pour back into myself a lot now. And as much as I'm on social media and I love what social media can do, I also know that it doesn't validate me. It doesn't tell me who I am as a person. I try to pour into the people that actually know me and love me. I love walking. I love hiking. So I do that a lot. I walk a lot. Go out, cinema, restaurant. Yeah, those things. I think the most important thing would be to listen to me. I think that's been the consistent theme, that I'm not heard when I've gone in and said I'm in labor or I'm feeling this kind of feeling. And even in terms of my first birth, like maybe found out, okay, why do you want to have an epidural, and like the reasons behind it, and maybe told me don't press the epidural so much because your legs will go numb, and all of those sort of things. I think just being spoken through, it was more like, okay, if you don't give birth in this amount of time, we're gonna cut you. It was very like, I don't know if the word's sterile. It wasn't loving or caring. It didn't feel caring, a caring environment. My midwife left like halfway through and then swapped. It was just, and I guess that they have to see loads of different people, so you don't get one midwife anymore. But that feeling of having one person that knows you consistently throughout your birthing experience and then your labor would help. Yeah, I think that's what would have really helped. I think everything the Motivational Mums Club does is important because community is so important. And I think the community that they build, that they bring, and just the conversations that you can have outside of the conversations you have with your friends and family, and feeling heard and feeling seen, I think it's so important. So I love the work that they do. I think the most important thing I'd say is you may feel like you've hit rock bottom, but from rock bottom, the only way is up. There's no way, you can't go further down, you can only go up. And everything that you see around you is what you see, but there's so much more for you. Just keep going and keep that childlike heart that you have. Ask a mum, how are you today?